Most people will live their entire lives broke. Not because they weren't smart enough, not because the system was rigged too deeply against them, and not even because of a lack of opportunity. Most people stay broke because they have been programmed to be broke, conditioned to think broke, and trained by society, by school, by fear, to operate on mental autopilot from the moment they wake up. A man can have 2 working hands, a healthy body, a sound mind, and still live in quiet desperation, because it's not about physical ability. It's about the operating system in the mind. If you feed your subconscious limitations every single day, don't be surprised when your reality matches the poverty of your internal dialogue. We live in a world where the average person works 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire on 40% of what wasn't enough in the first place. That's not wealth. That's a slow death in monthly payments. It's not a life. It's a sentence. You were not born to pay bills and die. You were born to create, to imagine, to build and to expand the boundaries of what you thought was possible. But most never do. Why? Because they sold their vision for comfort, traded their potential for predictability, and exchanged their dreams for the illusion of security. You can't blame them, not fully. This conditioning starts early. We're taught to memorize answers, not ask questions, to color inside the lines, not draw new ones. We're trained to follow rules designed by men who profit from our obedience. So the average man grows up believing that wealth is for them and not for him. He believes that ambition is dangerous, that risk is reckless, and that dreaming too big is childish. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." That quote is more than motivation. It's the key to the kingdom. Because broke is not just a bank balance. Broke is a mindset. And the reason most people stay broke is because they never upgrade the software running their lives. They spend hours scrolling instead of studying. They binge entertainment, but starve education. They know every celebrity scandal, but not one principle of financial freedom. They are addicted to distraction and allergic to discipline. And discipline is the doorway to everything they claim to want. We talk about ambition like it's a luxury, when in truth, it is a necessity. The world does not reward the lukewarm. It forgets them. It forgets the man who almost tried, the woman who almost changed, the dreamer who almost acted. History does not remember those who were kinda interested. It remembers the obsessed, the all-in, the unreasonable, the relentless. People stay broke because they're afraid to be unreasonable. They're afraid to break the script. But every great fortune started with a moment of rebellion, a refusal to accept the terms that life handed them. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Edison failed over 1,000 times to create the light bulb. Carnegie worked in a cotton factory as a child. These men were not born with silver spoons. They were born with iron wills. And they built their empires because they believed that their current every day you hesitate is a day you donate your potential to someone else's dream. Every hour you waste is equity burned. Every excuse you repeat becomes a chain around your future. You want to change your life? You want to escape the cycle? Start by taking radical ownership. You are not a victim. You are a vessel of unlimited power waiting to be activated by belief and action. And once you take responsibility, real, gut-level responsibility, the game changes. Because now, no one can stop you but you. The ones who rise are the ones who are willing to rewire their mind. They do not ask, "What can I get?" They ask, "Who must I become?" They do not chase outcomes, they pursue identity. Because when you change who you are at the core, you don't have to force success, you magnetize it. Broke people ask, "How do I make quick money?" Wealthy minds ask, "How do I create long-term value?" Broke people fear failure. Wealthy minds study failure like a scientist studies a formula. It's part of the equation. This is not about money. It's about mindset. It's about the daily decision to evolve, to grow, to stretch beyond comfort into the wilderness of potential. Your bank account is just the scoreboard. The real gain is internal. And most people are losing because they won't read, they won't write, they won't reflect. They won't take the hard step today that saves them years. But the ones who win, they play a different game. They rise early, not just to hustle, but to align, to remind themselves of who they are becoming. They feed their mind first, their body second, and their business third. Because they understand, if the mind is weak, the mission will fail. Success is not sexy. It's not instant. It's not viral. It's brutal. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's lonely. But it is worth it. And it's waiting for those who are willing to do what most avoid. Not just the work, but the inner work, the rewiring, the reprogramming, the reconditioning, breaking the old patterns, silencing the old voices, and installing a new belief system, one that declares, "I am the architect of my reality." That belief, when repeated with faith and followed with action, is the foundation of wealth. Not just financial wealth, but time wealth, emotional wealth, spiritual wealth. The kind of abundance that outlives markets and recessions. But that kind of wealth does not come to those who play defense. It comes to the ones who pick up the pen and write their story in blood, sweat, and vision. Who refuse to outsource their destiny to fear, laziness, or circumstance. Because they know that the clock is ticking, and time is either your greatest investor or your greatest thief. It multiplies what you feed it. If you feed it with excuses, it gives you regret. If you feed it with action, it gives you results. The most powerful transformation does not come from a mentor, a book, or a course. It comes from a moment, a decision, a line drawn in the sand where you say, "I will no longer tolerate average, not in my health, not in my thinking, not in my finances, not in my future." That kind of decision creates a ripple effect. You begin to walk differently, speak differently. You think twice before saying, "I can't." You replace it with, "How can I?" You start to realize that limitations live in language, and language is programmable. You can't speak doubt and expect confidence. You can't talk scarcity and expect abundance. You can't gossip and expect growth. Your words are seeds, and your life is the garden. Plant wisely. Most people stay broke because they keep planting weeds and wondering why no fruit grows. But you have a choice. You can choose to replant, to prune, to prepare a different harvest. It starts with one thought, one shift, one moment of bold, unapologetic ownership. And when that moment happens, the future bends. Because the universe does not respond to wishes. It responds to will. So write your will in stone. Etch it into your habits. Breathe it into your mornings. And fight for it with everything you have left. The world is not waiting for another person who almost made it. It's waiting for you to finally become the person you were born to be. No more broke mind. No more broke spirit. No more broke life. Just vision, discipline, purpose, and an unstoppable version of you finally unleashed. That is why most people stay broke. But you don't have to.